This manhwa is about a world full of monsters and hunters who hunt them. Our protagonist, named Jinhyuk, is also a hunter, but cannot level up because of the monopolization by the guilds. However, due to some miracle, he gets his own dungeon and starts to level up. Watch how he levels up and survives. This is the Gaia continent. For several years, a phenomenon occurred where monsters from this continent started to disappear. At first, it was believed they were being extinguished, but upon investigation, that was not the case. All of the disappeared monsters had moved to another continent. Now, a mage tries to make a dungeon cross dimensions, and with his magical power, he raises his hand to the ceiling. We can see the dungeon has gone, and all is silent. The scene shifts to a boy who is shocked by what appeared in front of him. A portal. Let's see what happens next. The scene shifts to a familiar place, like Earth. This is our protagonist, Kang Jin-hyeok, a D-rank hunter carrying a large bottle of water. A man in a yellow jacket asks him to hurry as they haven't even reached halfway yet. After sitting in the truck, Jinhyuk and his coworker catch their breath. The coworker asks our protagonist why he isn't feeling cold, and Jinhyuk replies, "Did you forget that I am a hunter? I don't feel cold." The coworker asks why he's working in a place like this. Jinhyuk says that he has no money. The guy says it would be really nice if the guilds stopped monopolizing everything, and Jinhyuk responds like that would ever happen. The guy tells him there's a news report about a serial killer roaming for a month, targeting hunters from large guilds. Suddenly, they hear screams. Jinhyuk guesses it's a terrorist attack or monsters. Then we see a group of monsters chasing normal civilians. He thinks this is his chance and takes out a bat from his inventory, rushing to finish the hunt before the big guild bastards arrive. Jinhyuk thinks that after taking down one or two monsters, he won't have to worry about money for a year. As Jinhyuk attacks the monsters, a guy with white hair appears and says, "Get lost." He grabs Jinhyuk by the collar and throws him away, saying again, "Get lost." Jinhyuk realizes that they are from the Titan Guild, which is in charge of this area, and the guy is Titan Guild's deputy guildmaster and Doyen. Jinhyuk replies that he was here first, but the guy responds, "This is my territory." Frustrated, Jinhyuk swings his bat, but is slapped in the face and knocked away. The guy says he will kill Jinhyuk if he meddles again. Holding his cheek, Jinhyuk realizes the power difference between a D-rank hunter and someone from a big guild. If only he were stronger. Angry, but resigned, Jinhyuk continues his part-time job and walks home, feeling defeated. While deep in thought, a portal opens in his attic. Trying to look, he sees a goblin and is frightened. Searching for a weapon, he realizes they can't see him. He tries to touch it, but there is no reaction. He smiles, realizing a dungeon has appeared in his house. Drinking from a can, Jinhyuk is thinking that dungeons were only a concept being discussed. He considers reporting it to the association, but he knows they'll kick him out of his house in the name of an on-site investigation. He makes the decision to keep it for himself but wonders if they can come over here. Equipping the bat, he enters and is notified that he has arrived on the first floor of the dungeon, Goblin Maze. He sees a goblin attacking him and jumps back into the portal, hoping they can't see him. Grinning, he jumps and attacks the monster, knocking it down and stabbing it with his bat. After giving the final blow, he kills the goblin. After becoming a hunter, this was his first time hunting alone. Jinhyuk goes to the Hunter Exchange Center and shows the corpse. The guy, seeing the corpse, says that it looks like Jinhyuk doesn't have much hunting experience, and if he kills monsters like this, their quality decreases. He suggests aiming for the vital points and says he can't give more than 3.2 million won. Jinhyuk agrees, but the guy asks where he hunted it, saying he needs to verify the location before transferring the money. Jinhyuk hesitates, thinking whether he should tell the guy it was a straggler from Titan Guild's territory. The guy asks why he's hesitating, reminding him he won't get a better price elsewhere. Suddenly, they hear someone yelling, "Where's that bastard?" These are people from the Black Dragon Guild. One of them asks if Jinhyuk is the guy who snatched a monster from their hunting ground. The receptionist behind the counter says it's not him. It's the blonde guy sitting there. The guild members go and beat the guy, accusing him of illegally hunting monsters in their territory. They ask him what he was doing in that area and if he wants to kill them, suggesting he could be the serial killer running amok recently. Then they take the guy away for investigation. Jinhyuk realizes he needs to get stronger with the help of his dungeon. After returning home, Jinhyuk decides to venture into the dungeon again, but this time with a return stone and a monster tracking compass. Though the compass can only detect monsters within a 50-meter radius, he grins, excited to level up. Taking down one goblin after another, Jinhyuk steadily raises his level. True to the dungeon's name, Goblin Labyrinth, it's filled with goblins, making it perfect for Jinhyuk's growth. However, despite leveling up, he checks his stats and finds them still disappointing. Deciding to collect the corpses of the goblins, he realizes he has space for one more and prepares for the next fight. Suddenly, using his radar, he senses something and swings his bat, but instead of a goblin, he accidentally hits a human. Startled, Jinhyuk apologizes, but he can't understand the man's language. The man throws a necklace at him, and when Jinhyuk wears it, he can suddenly understand the man's words. The short man, furious, introduces himself as a 132-year-old dwarf and yells at Jinhyuk for hitting him. Jinhyuk is shocked to meet a dwarf, a race famous for their blacksmithing skills in many fantasy novels. The dwarf, noticing the bat Jinhyuk is carrying, demands to know where he got it. Jinhyuk casually says it's just aluminum, but the dwarf reveals that the bat is made of orichalcum, a legendary material in the dwarf world. The dwarf invites Jinhyuk to his workshop, offering to upgrade his bat. Hesitant but intrigued, Jinhyuk follows, thinking about why a dwarf is living alone in a dungeon with a workshop. After some time, the dwarf emerges with Jinhyuk's bat, now glowing red. The dwarf explains that orichalcum is weak and soft at first, but when enchanted, it becomes stronger and its color deepens. This red bat is now a rare weapon, far superior to its previous form. Jinhyuk is amazed to learn that his bat has become an S-grade weapon, bound to him, meaning only he can use it. Though excited, he feels disappointed that he can't sell it for a fortune. Determined to make money in other ways, Jinhyuk decides to sell the goblin corpses he's collected on the black market since he can't sell them legally. He has a contact from the black market dealer network, a card that shady dealers hand out to low-level hunters. He heads to the black market and is greeted by Deputy Cho Hyung, who takes him to meet the boss. The boss, Lee Jun, is a loan shark who also deals in the black market. Without any small talk, Lee Jun asks to see the goblin corpses. Jinhyuk opens his inventory, and the boss and his men are shocked to see 20 goblin corpses in such good condition. They can't believe a low-level hunter like Jinhyuk could gather so many. Jinhyuk states he wants 5 million won for the corpses, but the boss counters, claiming the heads are damaged and offers 3 million instead. After some haggling, they settle on 4.5 million. Just as the deal seems set, one of the boss's men rushes in, shouting that monsters are approaching. Panic spreads as everyone realizes that the goblin corpses have attracted 2 orcs. Orcs are far stronger than Jinhyuk's current level, and he knows he's outmatched. Everyone tries to flee, but one of the orcs attacks Jinhyuk from behind. To his surprise, his enchanted bat saves him, moving on its own to block the attack. Everyone is shocked, including Jinhyuk, who realizes that his bat must have a detection ability. With renewed confidence, Jinhyuk fights back, using the bat to land critical hits on the orcs. After several strikes, he manages to kill the first orc. As he levels up from 36 to 48, another orc sneaks up behind him, but he dodges the attack just in time and takes it down with one powerful blow to the head. With the 2 orcs defeated, Jinhyuk turns back to the black market dealers and smirks, suggesting they include the orc corpses in the negotiation. The dealers, still in shock, have no choice but to agree. As Jinhyuk returns home and sees his bank account, he saw that he got 15% more than the market price. Now he only has to focus on hunting monsters from now on. While resting, he thought that the black market guy realized that he was not a thief, but a hunter who can easily take down orcs and wants to continue business. Then he thought that to hunt high-level monsters, his current equipment is not enough. Suddenly, he has an idea. He goes to the market and buys a can of beer made from aluminum and gives it to the dwarf, saying it also has alcohol in it. The dwarf asks, "Is that holy water?" But he explains it's just beer. Tasting the beer, the dwarf spits it out and says, "It tastes like piss. You made me drink this crap." Then Jinhyuk offers him soju, saying it's a little different. After tasting it, the dwarf says, "Now, that's like alcohol, but it's still missing something." Jinhyuk asks what, and the dwarf asks him to mine mithril for him. On his way to the mine, Jinhyuk thinks, "I know mithril is a mineral, but what does it have to do with soju?" Giving up thinking about it, he goes to search for mithril. Then he finds a forest, and a notification pops up saying he has entered the second-floor labyrinth of dogs and skeletons, and it asks if he would like to set it as a warp point. Without knowing what it was, he registers it. A portal appears, and a notification says he can travel between the first and second levels using this gate. He thinks it feels like a game, and he will use it to go back when needed. He goes to hunt. As the name says, there are really dogs jumping out. After knocking one down, he levels up and feels that they are weaker than orcs. Looking at the horde, he says, they are all just experience points, and hunts them. After killing all of them, he levels up to level 74 and sees that the kobold corpses he has are worth about 200 million won. Feeling really happy, he suddenly remembers the dwarf and mithril, so he searches for it again. He enters an area with skeletons and thinks, they aren't worth any money, and they're really annoying. Knocking off a skeleton's head, he realizes he needs to break their cores to kill them. There are really a lot of skeletons, and killing them makes him tired. He thinks, the dwarf made an excuse and didn't want to come here. Then he gets a notification that he has reached level 100 and that his class will be decided according to his recent actions. He thought he would get a warrior class, but instead he became a cleric. The scene shifts to the blacksmith's workshop. Jinhyuk gives the mithril to the dwarf. The dwarf says, I thought you might have died there. Then the dwarf asks what type of gear Jinhyuk wants. He says, I have a weapon. An armor would be nice, and it should not be noticeable. The dwarf says, it's simple. Then Jinhyuk rests. After waking up after 6 hours, as it was hot in the workshop, he comes back to check if the armor is ready. In the workshop, the dwarf looks satisfied with the armor. He then asks, is that the armor? The dwarf explains that he has made it so that Jinhyuk can wear it under his clothes, making it easy to hide. Picking it up, Jinhyuk sees it is a unique armor. After putting it on, suddenly, the dwarf strikes Jinhyuk's chest with a hammer, and we see that the armor can reduce 50% of both physical and magical damage. The dwarf says, actions speak louder than words. How do you feel? Jinhyuk replies, I was surprised, but it doesn't hurt much at all. Looking at the armor, he thinks, that attack was strong enough to break my ribs. With the armor and his bat, his combat power has increased. He thanks the dwarf and thinks meeting the dwarf was a stroke of luck. The dwarf says, no need for thanks, and picks up a barrel. He gives it to Jinhyuk and tells him to take it with him. Jinhyuk goes back home and drinks a cup of alcohol from the barrel. Tastes amazing with a good aroma. Since the soju is stored in the mithril barrel, its taste changes. Then Jinhyuk has an idea and calls the black market dealer to make a deal. The dealer asks, what have you brought this time? Jinhyuk replies, kobold corpses and liquor. The dealer is surprised to hear about the liquor. The scene shifts to the Titan Guild's new hunter training area. The training is over, and they are heading out when suddenly, a man reports to the Vice Guild Master that the lizardmen are being summoned again. The Vice Guild Master thinks, it's an anomaly gate, and it comes now of all times? We then see the monsters coming out, and a guy says that there are at least 3 times as many monsters as they hunted before. A guy suggests to the guild master that they cannot handle it alone and should request backup from other hunters. The vice guild master thinks, we should not beg other hunters for help for the sake of my reputation. We need to handle it internally. The scene shifts to Jinhyuk, where he receives his promotion card as a C-rank cleric. The receptionist says that it's a rare class that can heal others. He says thank you and walks out, thinking that now that he's been promoted to a cleric, guilds would easily accept him. Suddenly, an injured hunter arrives and requests clerics to join. Jinhyuk replies that he is one, but he is a C-rank cleric. Please join us right away. Jinhyuk thinks, it's true that being promoted to cleric is really good. Then we see hunters fighting the lizard men. A hunter falls down, and a monster jumps to attack, but a guy saves him and says to be focused. The vice guild leader, watching, calls the hunters worthless and says, hold the monsters. I will kill them all. A guy says, we need you to command, but the vice guild master ignores him and hunts the monsters. Jinhyuk asks if there is anything more he can do to help, but the hunter says to just focus on healing, and they will compensate him. Jinhyuk thinks it looks dangerous, but as long as I get compensated, it's fine. He starts healing, and we see hunters being healed and able to kill the monsters, but some are still getting hurt and asking for help. Jinhyuk says to another healer, it looks endless. We should contact others for help. The fellow healer replies that he also thought the same. Jinhyuk thinks, at this rate, they will get wiped out. Suddenly, A monster attacks from behind, but Jinhyuk's bat stops the attack. Jinhyuk wonders, how did that monster get this far? He realizes that the rear has been breached. The rear has been breached, says Jinhyuk as monsters get so close to them. But how? With the concealment technique, says the other cleric. It's okay now. I'll handle it. You guys focus on healing. Handle them? You're a cleric like us. Isn't it? It's too dangerous. We should ask Titan Guild for help. Titan is already struggling to hold the ground. And don't worry. I wouldn't be saying this if I wasn't confident. Jinhyuk was worried when he said that, but it was actually doable. He started killing the lizard men with the help of his legendary bat and said, "That's what good gear can do." The other cleric, flabbergasted, asked, "How can he do that? Amazing. He's really holding them off, and thanks to him, we can focus on healing now." But then, suddenly, a man appears and starts killing all the other lizard men. He was Seo Sang-ho, a Titan Guild master. The master asked, "Hey Hunter, did you take care of these enemies here?" "Yeah. But who are you?" Jinhyuk asks. "He's an S-rank hunter," the clerics say to Jinhyuk. "Looks like we can finally go home." Seo Sang says, "Yeah, but we'll have to continue this conversation later. Now, I'll make sure you're rewarded properly." Jinhyuk thinks, is this Seo Sang? I know masters are powerful, and he really is. Then, the guild master goes to help his team and says, "Everyone, good job." Shocked, the team members say, "Guild master, how did he come here?" The teammate says, "I called him." There's nothing wrong with asking for help from a fluid master. The guild master says to his team, "Those who are hurt or low on stamina, fall back. I'll take the lead from here. Members, hurry up, fall back." The guild master takes out many of the other lizard men in one strike. Everybody is shocked and says, "No wonder he's S-rank." All of this, Jinhyuk thinks to himself. I thought I had gotten stronger, but here a guild master is only hitting monsters with so much power, avoiding all allies. After killing the lizard men, the guild master says, "This concludes it. Team, gather the loot." Everyone starts gathering the loot, and the guild master starts to scold Danyun. "What are you thinking? To handle this alone? Were you planning to kill us all?" Danyun replies, "If I asked for help, I would have damaged the guild's reputation." The guild master says, "It's not the guild's reputation. It's your pride that you didn't want to get hurt." "That's a harsh accusation," says Danyun. A fellow member interrupts and says, "Master, I'm sorry, but we should let these clerics, who helped us today, go." "All right. And you, Danyun, we'll talk about this later when we get back to the guild," says the guild master. "Thanks to you all for helping our guild members survive. I am truly grateful for that. Especially to Jinhyuk. I saw you single-handedly handle the lizard men. You have impressive skills. If it's not too much, may I ask your name?" Jinhyuk replies, "Kang Jin-hyeok." The guild master asks, "Are you affiliated with any other guild?" "No, I am not part of any guild," Jinhyuk replies. The guild master asks, "Then how about joining my guild?" Danyun interrupts, saying, "Wait, what are you saying right now? This guy is D-rank. He might have gotten lucky and become a cleric, but he is nowhere near worth scouting." The guild master loudly says to Danyun, "Without him, all our members would have been dead. He saved lives that would have been lost, you idiot. Now go apologize to him." Jinhyuk replies, while Danyun is going to say sorry, "I appreciate the offer, but I'll have to decline. I just can't trust a guild with someone like Danyun." Angry, Danyun says, "What did you say, you bastard? Know your place." And all of a sudden, Jinhyuk's bat appears. A news flash on the guild member's mobile says, Danyun gets beaten by a C-rank hunter. Meanwhile, a meeting is happening, and board members say, "Bring Jinhyuk for an explanation and ask him to resign too." Although Danyun made a mistake, such punishment is unjust. If it goes unaddressed, the Titan Guild's reputation will suffer greatly. The guild master says, "It was not him, it was Danyun. He endangered new recruits for his own pride. On top of that, he tried to use violence against someone who fought for our guild. That's enough reason to revoke his vice guild master position. Am I wrong? Don't be foolish enough to discuss this. Everyone, leave," says the guild master. "Yes, sir," the members say and leave. The guild master, in his mind, thinks, before he grows more powerful, we should recruit him for ourselves. Back to Jinhyuk, he checks his expenses because he spent too much money. He should have taken that offer from the Titan Guild Master, but he has other ways to earn money. He enters the portal to hunt monsters and wants to hunt more powerful monsters, not the weaker ones. He heads deeper into the dungeon. He hears an orc attacking from behind and kills the orc. There are many orcs too, and he thinks, if I kill all these orcs, I won't need to worry about money for a while. He charges them and, after killing all the orcs, he checks his inventory. He can kill 20 more orcs. He heads deeper into the dungeon to find more orcs and reaches the 3rd floor, which looks like a temple. He wonders why there aren't any monsters around. Is this place safe or something? Then, he hears a noise behind him. There is a creature. Jinhyuk strikes it, but it is fast and stronger than him. What is this power and agility, thinks Jinhyuk. He sees the monsters made of stone. He remembers hearing of these before. These are artificially created monsters called golems. Golems are man-made moving monsters made from stone and metal. Jinhyuk destroys it with his bat. But wait, it starts to reassemble itself into one piece. He thinks, how do I defeat it? I need to destroy it from its core. He decides to retreat and rethink his strategy. Suddenly, an arrow flies and hits the golem's core, killing it. Jinhyuk says, if it weren't for the arrow, I would have died. But who helped him? Who is this? Then he sees a girl and thinks, wait, it's not a guy, it's a woman, and her ears. Wait, is this an elf? Jinhyuk thanks the elf, but she starts to attack him and asks, I haven't seen you in this dungeon before. Who are you? Where did you come from? How long have you been trapped here? When did you come in? Wait a minute, trapped? I just entered, says Jinhyuk. You entered today? Are you serious? Which means you know the dungeon entrance. Yes, that's right, says Jinhyuk. All right then. Finally, it seems I found a way out. Take me to the entrance you came from. Jinhyuk thinks, what's up with this woman giving orders right away? Anyway, she's pretty. And yeah, I'll compensate you. I'm a platinum level mercenary. You can trust me, says the elf. Jinhyuk questions, platinum ranked? Yes, I am Lucas the half-elf, she says. Jinhyuk replies, I haven't heard of you before. She says, I thought I was famous, and tells him more about herself. She asks, are you from here or some other place? He replies, I'm from Seoul and I've never heard of elves living in Korea before. The elf replies, it looks like the crazy maze dimension-shifting magic worked. That means the dungeon has flown into this world from another dimension. Thanks to the crazy maze. Is that even possible? Apparently so, says the elf. That's good. If the dimension shift was successful, then reversing it should allow us to return. Thanks for the information. Jinhyuk thinks, I knew something was odd. This dungeon isn't from this world. If the dungeon returns to its original state, it could become a problem. Jinhyuk asks the elf, can you return the dungeon to its original state? The elf says, yeah, but it's not possible right now. You have to help me with it. Help you with it? Yes, we need to defeat the boss to get to the location that can help us. Why would I help you with that? Don't worry. I'll give you something good in return. Jinhyuk thinks, the condition doesn't seem too bad, and they both head off to kill the boss, killing some orcs on the way. The elf says, you're more powerful than it seems. Jinhyuk replies, this much is nothing. They continue on to the location and take a break while she drinks water and he eats his protein bar. He asks, would you like one? Your name is Jinhyuk? Asks elf. He says, yes. Feel free to speak comfortably, says Lucas. Jinhyuk says, still, it feels odd to use informal speech with someone older. Angrily, elf takes out her bow and arrow and says, age doesn't matter. I'm considered very young for an elf. Jinhyuk says, I didn't mean it like that. Yeah, I'll speak casually from now on. Elf says she hasn't eaten anything and eats all of his protein bars in hunger, asking for more. Jinhyuk replies, it was the last one I had. Okay, now I'm full. Let's set off. Is this the boss monster's room? She says, yes. There's a high chance that a mage's spell is still here, and tells Jinhyuk, be ready, the boss is coming. All right, what should I do? He asks. The elf replies, nothing specific. I can handle it alone. Jinhyuk asks, really? You're gonna take that down alone? Are you sure? He's a big one. Elf says, watch closely, Jinhyuk. This is called aura. Jinhyuk is flabbergasted and says, what aura? The elf kills the boss monster with one arrow and says, yeah, this is what aura is and I'm gonna teach this to you. Happily? Jinhyuk asks, are you really going to teach me this? The elf replies, yeah, A promise is a promise. What do you think? But before that, they need to kill the boss monster. Jinhyuk goes and tries to hit its core, but with one hit, the core doesn't get destroyed. Jinhyuk notices a punch flying towards him and uses Holy Shield to block it. The elf, sheathing her weapon, thinks, isn't that aura? With that one more hit, Jinhyuk destroys the boss monster and levels up to 150 to 185. He asks the elf, now, can you teach me aura? The elf replies, isn't that aura you used to destroy him? You've learned it faster than expected. Jinhyuk is in shock and says, what? Is that true? The elf says, yes, the shield you used turned it into holy aura. So that means I can use it right away? Jinhyuk asks. The elf replies, it depends on how you use the technique. So, they start to use it right away, but the elf says, first, there seems to be a condition. The scene shifts to Guild Master Seo Sang-ho with his secretary, Lee Hyena, talking about an anomaly detection near Gangnam Station. It was detected yesterday, and a powerful monster will appear in the next 5 days. But there was a problem. Only the Titan Guild was left in the area, while other guilds were overseas. The guild master was discussing recruiting good hunters to form a team when he sees Jinhyuk walking across the road. He tells his secretary, Lee, to go ahead. He has some work to do, and meets Jinhyuk on the other side of the road. Seo Sang-ho asks, why did you buy so many protein bars? And what about your proposal to join the guild? Jinhyuk says, I made it clear before. Seo Sang-ho then says, how about a mercenary contract? I'll make sure the reward is substantial. Jinhyuk replies, I'll think about it, and then goes with the protein bars to give them to the elf to eat. While she eats, he thinks, don't they have these kinds of food in their world? She eats and gets full. Jinhyuk asks, what should we do now? We killed the boss monster, and there's a symbol on the ceiling too. The elf says, it's a magic circle. You don't even know what a magic circle is? What kind of world do you live in? Never mind. It helps connect the dungeon to the world you live in. I'll be staying here and studying it for a while. I want you to bring me more chocolate, and I'll teach you aura. She says, to learn it the fastest way, we need to grab hands. She then starts infusing aura into his body. He starts to feel something in his body as his veins puff up, and he says, is that aura? The elf thinks he really is talented. The movement of holy power flowing in his body is quite good. He might learn the basics in one day. Jinhyuk thinks, this is confusing, but I can do it. The elf compliments him and asks if he can remember the flow from just now. She then takes him to hunt monsters. He asks, weren't you going to teach me aura? What's the point of hunting monsters? She explains, I infused mana into you so you could feel it, but the rest is up to you. Combat is the best way to learn that feeling. Jinhyuk says, you should have at least warned me before throwing me between monsters. She says, focus and feel their aura while using Holy Shield. He blocks a monster's attack with Holy Shield and can now sense mana more clearly. The monster attacks again, and Jinhyuk tries to feel it again. This time, the feeling is different. He's knocked away by the monster, but he notices that he gained a new skill, Holy Power Application. The elf tries to help him, but he stops her, dodging the golem's attack. He focuses his mana on the bat and attacks the monster, knocking it down. Then he uses aura, learns the skill Holy Aura, and kills the monster. He uses aura to create new skills and his skills level up, but it's really tough. The elf arrives, thinking he's talented. He was able to learn aura really quickly. Jinhyuk says, I'm getting the hang of it. She was just going to teach him the basics, but he's really talented. Thanks to her, Jinhyuk was able to learn new skills. She then points an arrow at him, but she aims at the wall behind him and releases it, unleashing monsters for him to practice against. Jinhyuk calls her worse than a demon elf and fights the monsters. The scene shifts to Earth, where Jinhyuk is talking to a black market dealer. The dealer asks, is something wrong? Jinhyuk says, I'm fine. The dealer thinks he looks like he's been through a war and says, we're willing to purchase all the monster corpses. And about the liquor, it's become really famous. You'd never be short on money just by selling the liquor. Jinhyuk buys a crate of liquor and walks home, thinking of himself as a famous businessman. With all the money he has, he feels like all his worries have disappeared. Laying on his bed, he thinks about Lucas, the elf. She's definitely from a different world. She needs aura to use skills, while hunters use words to activate their skills. He falls asleep. After some time, He wakes up to the sound of a disaster signal. It says, all citizens should evacuate immediately. This is not a drill. Jinhyuk looks at the date. Monster invasions happen randomly, but some occur periodically. He ignores it as he's exhausted. However, he sees a notification that says the reward for hunting will be tripled. Jinhyuk goes to hunt the monsters. This is a large-scale invasion that happens every month, and many hunters are blocking the monsters. We see Titan Guild Master and other hunters fighting the monsters. One hunter is attacked and can't react, but the Guild Master saves him. He thinks that all the members are at their limit, and people are shocked to see an ogre killed in a single blow. He is an S-rank hunter, after all. The monster wave is never-ending. Titan Guild's secretary is thinking of someone who could help the Guild Master. She remembers Jinhyuk fighting goblins. She calls him, Jinhyuk. He asks, are you calling because of the monster invasion? She replies, how did you know? For a secretary to call you means the situation is dire. Only the Guild Master thinks well of you. We understand. But the monster invasion is an urgent matter. She directly asks, we'll offer the best compensation. Can be hourly or performance-based. He replies, performance-based. I want 5 times the price per monster. She says, I'll meet you at the mobile phone store near Jeonying building. After meeting, she says, 4 times is the limit of my authority. Please consider it. Jinhyuk agrees. She gives him a device that measures magic power and converts it into points. 2 goblins attack Jinhyuk. He kills them and gets 2 points. She explains that points are based on the grade of monsters, and 82 is the average score of frontline hunters. Jinhyuk says, I'll eliminate the source, and rushes to kill the monsters. The secretary starts thinking that Jinhyuk's skills are still uncertain. But still, the Guild Master really thinks he's talented. Then we see Jinhyuk destroying an ogre's weapon and activating Holy Application, striking at the head of the monster. He realizes that the elf's training was really helpful, as he can now easily take down monsters above his level. People watching start to discuss, where did this A-rank hunter come from, destroying an ogre with a single strike? Jinhyuk smirks, thinking, I'm stronger than an A-rank hunter. Drinking a mana potion, he thinks, normally, I wouldn't be able to defeat the ogre so easily. But thanks to Lucia's training, I'm level 200 now. As long as my mana doesn't deplete, I'm stronger than an A-rank hunter. Then we see Indoyan, who is thinking, how did the number of monsters suddenly decrease? He goes to check the commotion and commands everyone to move to the next area. Upon seeing Jinhyuk, he remembers the insults and rushes for revenge. But Jinhyuk easily knocks him away. The scene shifts to the Titan Guild's master, fighting a huge monster. His mana is exhausted, and he's about to retreat. But suddenly Jinhyuk jumps from his shoulder, grabs the horn of the monster, and knocks it down. The Guild Master thinks, for a hunter who recently reached C rank to take down a minotaur, my judgment was correct. Jinhyuk asks, can I finish the monster? And the Guild Master agrees. After defeating the minotaur, Jinhyuk levels up. The Guild Master thanks him for his help, and Jinhyuk replies, the Guild Master's secretary contacted me, and it's my chance to earn some cash. The Guild Master again asks him to join the guild, assuring him that most of the credit will go to him. Jinhyuk says, let's finish this first, then we'll discuss. Just then, the secretary calls the Guild Master, informing him about a crisis in the sky. Both look up at the sky, noticing how the weather has suddenly changed, and storm clouds begin to form. Then, a lightning bolt strikes a group of hunters in front of them. The Guild Master asks his secretary, what the hell is happening? The secretary says, there's a monster in the sky. Just one, but it's 500 meters long. Suddenly, the monster attacks them with lightning. The guild leader asks Jinhyuk if he's okay, and Jinhyuk replies, I'm fine. He then asks, what kind of monster is that? I've never seen anything like it. A monster flying that big. Everyone realizes that, at that height, skills won't reach it. The guild master asks Jinhyuk to join them in assessing the situation and dealing with the monster. He agrees. The scene shifts to the Titan Guild's office, where a lightning bolt strikes a car, confirming that the lightning rods are ineffective. The guild master asks, is there any method to approach it from the sky? The secretary replies, we tried with drones, but they were all shot down by the monster. It's impossible to approach it from the air. It can accurately attack everything within a 1-kilometer radius. The guild master says, we need to attack it from a distance where its lightning can't reach. Jinhyuk thinks it's really hard to kill it. We need someone who can take it down in one shot. Then he remembers the elf. He says to the guild master, I have a way to take down the monster. Would you let me try? We then see the guild master in a meeting with all the guild executives. Han Young-suk, one of the executives, asks the guild leader if he really trusts that C-rank hunter. Even we don't have a solution. How can someone like him have the answer? Another executive suggests that with the guild master's range of 500 meters, if they can get that close, he's sure the guild master can take down the monster with one shot. The guild master replies, I already mentioned that the monster can strike anything within a 1-kilometer radius with 100% accuracy. Don't you trust the guild master when I say I have a plan? The executive apologizes. The secretary says their only option is to wait for support from Geisha. The guild master responds, we can't count on them. Geisha is a guild composed only of A rank and higher mages. Their magic may be able to deal with the monster, but they don't care about civilians. They only care about capturing new monsters. We cannot rely on them. It's better to leave the monster alone to minimize the damage. Now, our only hope is Hunter Kang Jin-hyeok. And even if he fails, I'll have to risk my life and approach the monster. All of them reluctantly agree. The scene shifts to the portal where Jinhyuk and the elf arrive. Jinhyuk thanks the elf for helping him, and she responds, I'm free anyway. I'll be taking sweets from this world as a reward for hunting. He then asks if she can take down the monster, to which the elf replies, of course. I can even do it with my eyes closed. Jinhyuk checks the monster's details and sees that it's a Leviathan, level 300. It has the highest level in history. She tells him, I'll need a little help. This place is fragile and can't hold my power. Jinhyuk asks the guild master, if the massive monster falls, the damage to the buildings will be unavoidable. Can the guild handle that? The guild master replies, of course. You can focus on hunting. Jinhyuk tells the elf that everything is set, and they prepare for the attack. She asks him to get ready. He says, fire. She releases 2 arrows towards the monster, and in an instant, the monster is split into 2 pieces. Everyone is shocked. Jinhyuk thinks this is too much power. The elf casually comments, the monster was too weak. Jinhyuk responds, it's you, Lucia, who is too strong for this world. Thanks. She replies, why thank me? I'm not working for free. She gives the device back to Jinhyuk and asks, does this count as proof for defeating the monster? He replies, that's how the system works here. She advises, be careful and don't trust people too much. People can easily deceive others when there's a lot at stake. I've been fooled plenty of times during my time as an adventurer. Jinhyuk reassures her, don't worry. When I sense something, I won't just sit back and do nothing. We then see the guild master in a vehicle watching Jinhyuk's performance. The guild master comments, that was amazing. Can you tell me how you did it? I was just lucky. It's a secret. An executive retorts, he wasn't the one who took down the monster. Jinhyuk, throwing the device, says, you can check it. The device shows 240 points. The executive is shocked, as the guild master's score was only 173. Suspecting that Jinhyuk must have cheated, the secretary confirms it's not possible. I was the one who gave him the device. The executive yells at Jinhyuk, asking why he's wandering around instead of waiting for compensation. Jinhyuk responds, I had a promise from the guild leader. I took down the monster, so it's my right to claim its corpse. The executive yells again, calling Jinhyuk a nobody, saying, do you even know how much the corpse is worth? You shouldn't speak nonsense. If you want to end this peacefully, guild master intervenes, scolding the executive. Stop, you're embarrassing yourself and the guild. The executive apologizes and is ordered by the guild master to ask for forgiveness from Jinhyuk, acknowledging all the rewards. He tells Jinhyuk he can take the corpse and hopes they can fight together in the future. Jinhyuk thinks this man is trustworthy, even if the guild is not. The executive means to himself, I don't need a guild master who doesn't prioritize the guild's interests and sides with a C-rank hunter. The guild currently needs him, but if this continues, I'll have to take matters into my own hands. He starts scrolling through his contacts. The scene shifts to people talking about the incident that happened recently. Monsters appeared from the sky and were taken down by the Titan Guild Master, Seo Sang-ho. However, it was apparently defeated by a C-rank hunter, which is why the Titan Guild Master personally offered to scout him. Around them, there was an Ultron Guild scout too, talking on the phone about Dan Yoon, an A-rank hunter who was hospitalized. Danyun had been taken down by a C-rank hunter, and he might have a hidden class. The Ultron Guild is on this level because they have 3 of those hidden class hunters, and they don't want to let him slip from their hands, so they either recruit him or eliminate him. They start to investigate the C-rank hunter's background too. Jinhyuk wakes up from sleep and cannot believe he slept for 2 whole days. He needs to order some food because he is hungry. He enters his kitchen and sees that the elf has eaten all his chocolate and snacks. Shocked, Jinhyuk asks her what happened to his house, saying that he was saving the snacks for her and she ate them all in 2 days. He asks her why she didn't go back. She says, "Who would have taken care of you then?" She explains she would have gone back, but the dungeon was closed. However, when Jinhyuk opens the door, the dungeon is there perfectly. Shocked, the elf says it wasn't there a moment ago. She tells him to step away and opens the door again, but now it's not there, which shocks both of them. Jinhyuk also doesn't know what's going on. The elf says this means the dimensional coordinates that the wizard imprinted are stuck with him. That means the dungeon could have dropped on his head. Jinhyuk says, "Seems like I used all of my luck here. But more importantly, why hasn't the food I ordered arrived yet?" Then a delivery guy arrives with his food. Jinhyuk asks the elf to come and eat. She asks, "Is this sweet too?" She also says, "By the way, how did he even find your place?" She had put a spell called the recognition suppression spell, so no one could find his location. But why? She explains that while he was asleep, strange people came many times. Guardian? Ultron? Some guild or something. They were annoying, so she put a spell on the house. Shocked, Jinhyuk says, "Really? Why though? Why would those giant guilds be looking for me?" He wonders what happened on Earth while he was asleep. He checks his phone and reads the news while eating. His video is circulating on the internet showing how he killed those monsters. Lucia asks him, "What's wrong? Why aren't you eating?" He says he has a problem, that he is doing too well. "Are you out of your mind?" says the elf. Jinhyuk thinks to himself that he's becoming too greedy by using the elf's power and becoming stronger. And now all the guilds want him. The hunter industry is so territorial that when a strong competitor emerges, they find ways to hold them back. So, Jinhyuk tells the elf, "Let's grab all our equipment and get back to the dungeon. I need to get stronger so no other hunter can mess with me. I need to level up more and create even stronger items." They meet up with a dwarf, and he asks them why they only brought the head of the big monster. They explain that the body was too damaged to use, so they brought the head. The elf says, "It was too weak to withstand my arrows." The dwarf replies, "Seriously? You don't know how valuable they were. That's why I don't like elves." The elf gets angry at him, and they start to argue. She demands, "Make arrows for me so I can leave." Jinhyuk interrupts them and says, "Anyways, can you make anything with the corpse?" The dwarf says, "You have no idea what you've brought here. Just a moment, this is still alive." He takes out a precious part of the Leviathan's body, the monster they brought. "What's this?" Jinhyuk asks. "It's an organ that helps it use lightning," the dwarf explains. Jinhyuk asks him to make his bat shoot lightning, and asks what he needs to pay. The dwarf says, "No need to pay, but I really want to help you get that elf out of here. As long as that elf is here, nothing will go right." Lucia says, "I will put a hole in his head." Jinhyuk calms her down, saying, "Don't be harsh. He's a good person." "Good person, my ass," she retorts. Jinhyuk then says, "All right, I'll buy you the best sweets." He goes to buy sweets for her and thinks to himself, a ghost must have possessed her. If someone else had eaten that much, they could have gotten diabetes. While these thoughts are running through his mind, his senses go on high alert. Ever since he learned to use aura, his senses have become stronger. And now, right at this moment, someone is tracking him. To know more, wait for the next part dropping soon. Till then, like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more manhwa recaps.